What up, rebels with a cause? In this video, I want to talk a bit about the war on personal responsibility. If you like this content and you watch this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, or drop a comment, because I'm going to be dropping some rants and some knowledge bombs about personal responsibility. I'm going to tell you one of the most illuminating moments in my life, which was both the most liberating and the most shameful moments in my life. It's actually the first video. If you're ever going to type tips for a better life on YouTube, you will still find the video. It was a moment of self-reflection, and I think we have a huge lack of awareness and self-reflection right now. Any knowledge actually starts with reflection, awareness, changing things, your identity, your beliefs, the way how you see the world. And one of the most illuminating moments in my life was that most of my suffering was self-inflicted. And that created two things. I felt ashamed because I realized that a lot of the bad things, the frustration, the hurt in my life was my fault. But it was also very liberating because I realized that most negative things in my life were due to my perception and were my fault. And that is why when I create Rebels with a Cause, I help them take personal responsibility, speak that truth, and make an impact in that order. First, personal responsibility. Second, speak that truth. And third thing, make an impact. Because you can't speak your truth if you have no self-awareness, if you have no self-ownership, if you don't have strength within yourself. So if you want to build yourself up as a rebel with a cause, the first thing you should do is create personal sovereignty by taking personal responsibility. And one of the best things that you can do to change your life is first make sure that, as Jordan Peterson says, clean your own room. Look at the small things you can change incrementally. There's no use complaining, blaming, shaming, pointing fingers at the outside world when you inside yourself are weak. The best way how you can inspire people is to be a living example. And the best way to be a living example is to take personal responsibility. Responsibility, the ability to respond to any kind of situation. That is how you can actually inspire people. This is the beginning of integrity. When your actions and what you say line up, that is when you live in integrity. And before shouting at the world and blaming the world what they should give you, you should first look at the things that you can clean up yourself. So you want to start with personal responsibility. You can start with habits, set standards, set a goal, simplify, set a course. Change small things in your life repeatedly, and with a compound effect, it gets better, better and better and better. But there's a war on personal responsibility right now because a person in their personal responsibility, speaking their truth, making an impact is immensely powerful. And what happens with people who have no responsibility or responsibility? They are weak. They're easily manipulated. They live in fear. They have no strength. And they're always looking for outside situations to give them the comfort that they need. In other words, they are very easily controllable. Someone who doesn't have the strength within themselves, the fulfillment, the meaning, the direction, the discernment, the structure, the vision, the perspective, is very easily manipulated. It's very easily to manipulate someone's perspective when they don't have strengths within. And that is why there is a war on personal responsibility. Just take the drugs. Don't solve the underlying issue. Point at other person who are more successful than you. Blame them for the situation that you are in. This is looking at the circle that is outside of your control, and angry, entitled, bitter, resentful people will never change the world. I see a lot of people talking about body positivity and self-love, but the place that they're coming from is blame, shame, self-hatred, pointing fingers. So if you truly want to make an impact, you should start with personal responsibility. But we live in a culture right now that celebrates victimhood. Complain, tell them that you're a victim, tell them you're suffering, and you get attention points and you can get whatever you want. But that is false empowerment. That is someone else giving you the authority that you can actually have over yourself. So this is the first pillar that I will create a lot of content about. If you want to be more control of your body, of your mind, of your perception, of your relationships, and in the end, your reality, you want to start with personal responsibility. And they are destroying purposely everything that you can have to build up personal responsibility, to think for yourself, to act for yourself, and to make up your own mind. So it begins with you. Individual is from individu, undivided. So if you ever are feeling in a fucked up situation, you can't change things, and you want to change your life, instead of focusing on the big things, always starts with the circle of you. No matter if you want to change the world, change your family, change your friends, it always starts within you. It doesn't have to be limited with you, because self-development is not only developing by yourself, it's developing in symbiosis with others. So self-development is not about selfishness or ego-centeredness, but you want to have enough power, inspiration to actually change other people's life. And the best way is to keep your own cup full, to be an inspiration, and that way be able to handle other responsibilities outside of those that you actually can manage yourself. So don't fall into the trap of falling for personal for having no personal responsibility, because that is how they keep you immature, weak, infantile, dependent, and they can easily manipulate you. That is why I'm so passionate about creating rebels with a cause who work on themselves, who speak their truth, who think for themselves, who have a different opinion, and they teach other people to do the exact same thing. But always start with you. Leaders always go first. You have to always implement it in your own life, because there's plenty of people who talk the talk. There's very few people who actually walk the walk, because I see the crisis right now. It's actually a big integrity crisis of people who can talk, dispute, talk about things. Jordan Peterson is one of them, talking all the time about tyranny will not prevail as long as one man is still saying their truth. And then I see him making videos where he just like chilling out and just said like, okay, just don't bother me anymore. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not going to speak my mind. A guy who's been investigating the gender pay gap on so many variables. He puts things into context. And then everything that's going on right now, he studied totalitarianism for 25 years. And he doesn't see what's going on right now. He talks about personal responsibility, and he's been dependent on antidepressants for such a long time. He helps people like think for themselves, clean their room. But he has like 1.5 years that he's been tackling certain issues, you know, and he doesn't know the side effects of the medication that he's taking. He talks about, you know, the valuableness of a family and sticking together. And his daughter divorced after like 6 months. After he had a child for 6 months, she divorced her husband. So anybody who you're looking at, look at personal responsibility and look at integrity, because there's a lot of people who can have fantastic discussions, but when it comes down to it, they actually don't walk the walk. It's one of the biggest disillusions that I had this year, because there's a big part that Jordan Peterson talks about: clean his room, have integrity, speak your truth, you know, like sanctity of marriage, practice religion. Yes, he can talk about the religion, but he doesn't practice religion. He can talk about free speech, but he doesn't defend free speech. He can talk about personal responsibility. He doesn't take personal responsibility. Because what is being dependent on antidepressants then? That's putting your dependence on something outside of yourself. So that was one of the biggest disappointments that I had this year. You have a lot of people who can actually talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So first start with personal responsibility, and then become coherent in your thinking and acting, and start having integrity, because we need more rebels with a cause who practice what you preach and actually act on teachings and implement it in their life. So that was a little bit of a rant. I can also drop down below the interview that really pissed me off with Jordan Peterson. You can check out the last 3 minutes of that interview, which I think is completely disgusting, that someone can sell out his principles so much. It goes completely against, stand up against tyranny. Just like, oh, I'm just going to do it, you know, stupid rules, they don't make sense, but I'm going to follow them anyway, because then it goes away. And he's been investigating totalitarianism, the Gulag Archipelago, for so many years. And then suddenly he doesn't practice it. So he lost a lot of my respect, a gigantic amount of my respect, because it's someone who doesn't live up to his teachings. Anyway, that was a little bit of a rant. Focus on personal responsibility, speak your truth. I will give you a lot of resources to find your purpose, set up your habits, be productive, navigate this mad world, and make sure you can reclaim your perception and perspective, so you can inspire other people to do the same. If you like this content, if you find this content thought-provoking, you want to leave a comment, drop it in the comments, give me a like, or subscribe on my YouTube channel, and I will talk to you guys in the next Facebook Live. See you next time, Rebels with a Cause. Ciao.